Oh my god. What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast live stream, aka spoiler alert, episode number 759, wherein we shall attempt to review some of past week's comics, as well as talk about some fun pop culture topics for your listening and viewing pleasure. Specifically, Noel's stash. Look at that. Look at that bushy.
Talk about viewing pleasure.
God damn.
Pleasure
I'm your host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, which is a comic shop located at 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a super rad shop which caters to nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals of all shapes and sizes, except jerks.
What if you had a hope of changing the jerks for the better?
Do it outside the doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right in the little alcove. That's cool.
Just, do it in the alley, and if they are unjerked,
you come on in. Yes.
This is the part in the script where
unfortunate.
Noel writes anything, and I will read it out loud. Two tried and true tridents, two tried and true tridents, two tried and true tridents. Joining me tonight are Brian Lee. Brian.
Hi.
What fictional city in comic books would you have preferred to go to college?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know, when you say what fictional city, yeah, you got it, JD.
I wrote it myself.
That's what I heard. I think I got to go Central City, right? Because so the first thing that comes to mind is Metropolis. That would be awesome. Central City seems like the Flash has a real relationship with the city. I think that would be pretty cool. Although, now that I'm talking about it, I do like Gorilla City or some super advanced city. That would probably be the better place to go.
I mean, I started thinking about it too because I wrote the question. But you'd want a city that doesn't get taken over all the time. So fuck Gotham.
Yeah.
And then you'd also want a city that doesn't have cosmic threats as much, which is Metropolis.
For sure.
So I'm like, Central, Opal, Coast Cities.
Ooh, that's a gamble.
Yeah, definitely don't go to Coast City.
That's a 50-50. Like, they rebuilt, but I don't know. So it was like between Central but that's DC. I was thinking DC, I'll just go to college at Empire State University.
Yeah.
In New York. Yeah, but New York is like the center of problems in the Marvel universe for the common person.
Or the center of cool.
Right. Maybe you'll get powers in but like Adelan, like what super advanced cities are there? Because that would probably be pretty cool.
How about studying abroad in the Savage Land?
Oh, interesting. Maybe like a semester in the Savage Land.
Yeah.
The city enduring.
Where it's safe.
Ooh, the city enduring.
There's no murder there.
Nah, there was that one.
And honest, I feel like it would be a really long trip to get there.
Yeah, that's true. I went to college in Boston, 6 hours away, and then that was a little while. So on the edge of known space, it's going to be
slightly longer.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the script now. Also returning this week is Noel. Here he is. Huzzah!
He's returned. Noel, did you hear our chat? You were here in the beginning of it. Did you hear our little hangout session last week?
I was sitting down for dinner.
Cool.
When you guys started, so I saw that you had started, but I had no sound on.
All right.
So then it was just like, and then
it was just viewing pleasure. No,
I'm glad we made a lot of gestures.
Well, because I don't think anyone else in the restaurant was interested.
I think they would have liked it. It was, it was kind of a freewheeling talk about cool stuff.
It's really their decision to make, Noel. I mean,
also,
you took that from them. For them.
Not if I impose the decision on them. First of all, like English is mostly second language for a lot of the people that were in the restaurant with me.
So they wouldn't.
And
they
then,
wouldn't care.
And then me imposing some auditory offensiveness on them. It seemed a little
American,
unchill.
See, it's right on point.
It was super American, and I'd be like, "Would you like to listen? Here's a Bud Light Lime."
Yeah, which you had several of. Yeah.
I don't like that attitude. I'm just kidding. I like it very much. The joy of doing this live is all of you in the chat. So pipe up if you feel so inclined, and we'll have a dialogue. We look like we're skipping the letters block.
Quadrilogue.
I mean, do we have a letter? I don't know if we have letters. Do you want to check real quick?
I have a letter. I'll check.
You know, while you do that,
vamp.
Guys, I just discovered before the show that my tablet is activated by my headphone cord. The touch screen of it will like scroll, and I wonder if because it's based on electrical conductivity, it's like reading this. My iPhone is not, but this like Fire tablet, my app is scrolling up and down as the headphone cord moves across it.
Oh,
I don't have capacitive screen.
Yeah.
I don't have a letter, but I do have a notification that Ty Turner has subscribed to us on YouTube as well as Patreon. So thank you.
Oh, great. Welcome, Ty.
Yeah.
Turner.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Cool,
thank you
bro.
so much. You know what? Since I brought it up, since Ty brought it up, if you want to help the show out, you can go to patreon.com/JohnnyTheStructo. More on that. First, though, we're going to talk about comics. We're going to start with the Human Target #1 from DC Comics, written by Tom King and art Greg Smallwood. The description is as thus. Christopher Chase has made a living out of being a human target. A man hired to disguise himself as his client to invite would-be assassins to attempt his murder. He's made a remarkable career until his latest case protecting Lex Luthor. He's had a remarkable career until his latest case protecting Lex Luthor when things go sideways. An assassination attempt Chance didn't see coming leaves him vulnerable and left trying to solve his own murder. As he has 12 days to discover just who in the DCU hated Luthor enough to want him dead. So
everyone?
A lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. Most folks hate Luthor.
Yeah.
Although it's not true. I have a feeling after dealing with Trump, the Trump presidency, it has occurred to me like, oh no, there's definitely some people out there who will think Luthor is a good guy.
Yeah. Even in this comic, when they had Luthor as president as like a commentary on George W. Bush, but they used that too early, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think it was Mark Russell's Future State book had a bit of that where it was I think it was Planet Lexor. And
yes.
An amazing planet that people like technologically advanced and no one grew old and everybody was super happy and it was just a worship of Lex Luthor.
Which is a Silver Age deal, like the planet that loves Lex and hates Superman.
I
didn't know that was Mark Russell.
Oh, that's real. I didn't know.
Yeah. Of course, it was Mark Russell because it's good.
It makes sense, and it was commentary using stuff. Yeah, it was cool. People in this book like Lex Luthor, like in this very comic, as we're talking, like most of the public is all about him.
But how did you like this book?
Well, Brian. I liked it, Noel. Now, my storied feelings about Tom King are well known to you gentlemen and the viewers and listeners of the podcast. But this is the kind of thing that,
in case you're new,
yeah,
he hates Tom King with a burning passion. He sends him death threats online.
Yeah, but they're not addressed to him, so I don't think he gets them.
They're open letters. He knows. He gets them. Tom King ruins your childhood.
He does. I mean, my childhood is unaffected by him, but I don't
retroactively ruins your childhood.
Yeah, like I don't like his like. Ooh, what if the great things about the Silver Age were dark? But a book like this or Rorschach, which we read also, well, this fits his milieu. Like Christopher Chance is a guy steeped in crime and that kind of stuff. So the story was good. Like it was well written. It was this like kind of procedural murder investigation from a very interesting angle. He gets poisoned and he goes through like trying to figure out what happened. The art is also phenomenal. So that's great. I love how they render the glass bottles as just like lines on it.
Oh, it's like white ink negative space. All of the glass.
This is probably the most defined the glass is here that we're looking at now. I remarked to JD earlier, it kind of reminds me of New Frontier with the like square light effects and mid-century kind of tones. Very cool stuff. And it does involve some superheroes from a halcyon age. That was my one, not qualm, but potential concern is their involvement? Like, all right, which way are we going with these heroes? Are they?
I take mild umbrage with so I do agree that Tom King is a bit of a one-trick pony, only because most of his stories are concerned with or invested in exploring PTSD and then applying that to the superhero experience.
Yeah, emotional issues.
He's not. It's not like I'm gonna fuck up your heroes. It's I'm just going to show this side. Now, I would implore you not to finish Strange Adventures.
Yeah, no, I don't think I will.
Because that does kind of actually change. Like the book ends up not being about Adam Strange at all for the most part. Yeah.
Did you like it?
I adored it. I thought it was
fantastic. Yeah.
But I'm able, like, I don't have, I mean, I have affection for these characters, but I don't have any kind of like applied affinity where I don't know. The last like 10 years, I've kind of approached everything with remake it, redo it. Doesn't matter. I still have mine. Just make it good. And if these stories that he's changing things, if they weren't good, then I would feel the very same way. Heroes in Crisis, I did not like at all. I don't think that was successful. And that just, I also think it didn't work because it was in continuity. All of these other ones that he's been doing, completely divorced of continuity, and it's his own little sandbox to tell the story with the superheroes. But anyway.
Now, on that point, though, as a point of discussion, I think for me personally, it's not that I mind that he is doing these things to these heroes. It's a fine distinction, but so much as I mind that he is recasting the ideas in a, like, what if Adam Strange went on a bunch of great adventures, but actually it took a deep, dark toll? These weren't fun, great adventures. You like that kind of thing? Not so much the characters as the nature of the stories themselves that he puts that kind of spin on a lot of times as a story thing. But also when he wrote in Rorschach, remember when he appears in Rorschach and he's like, the Tom King character in Rorschach is like kind of talking very frankly about that. Like, well, it's easier to do that kind of thing than it is to write a hopeful story that people like. So I got to give credit for that. That changed my view about him a little bit.
He's very aware of what he's stuck in as a storyteller, and I think he's in this mode now where he's trying to tell hopeful stories within the context of realistic ickiness, which I think is what Supergirl very much is like.
Oh, that's great. I'm loving Supergirl. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
JD, did you like it?
I love this book. I am one of my great regrets of the past couple of months is not being able to keep up with all of the Tom King stories that I've been enjoying so much. Behind on Supergirl. I haven't finished Strange Adventures. I haven't finished Rorschach, etc. But I'm excited that there's more. I remember reading the Human Target miniseries from Vertigo maybe 10 odd years ago and enjoying it. But also to this day, not really remembering much about it other than like it's his job to.
Did you watch the show?
Take a bullet. No, I haven't.
I watched the first season.
It was good. Yeah,
it was fun.
But I don't remember him having that much to do with the superheroes. So there's several things about this issue that are just top notch. One, Greg Smallwood's artwork. This dude is a beast. I love his style so much. It also reminds me in presentation and style reminds me of Parker, the Parker novels by Darwin Cook, the graphic novels. Parker is a bunch of 60s crime dramas that Richard Stark, the author, only let Darwin Cook adapt into graphic novel form. And they are awesome. And so these sort of reek of that. They reek of whiskey and cigarettes and crime. So this is all up my alley. I like that stuff. And one of my favorite bits in this issue is the next 12 issues in this series. Enjoy these little clips. So basically what we do is we come into Chance who is writing a death note, right? Like, I love you too. And he lays down, and it starts off this countdown from day 12, which is where we are meeting the character, counting us back to day 1, the beginning of this case. So 12 is him there, lying there, supposedly dead. And then they show you day 11, 10, 9, 8, and they give you one panel from assuming the comic book. Issue 10, issue 9, issue 8, issue 7. I'm assuming this is a 12-issue series. That's how Tom King works. And I thought that was a very cool way to show you like little vignettes from the different issues. This trying to solve my own murder is not exactly the case, from what I can tell. Because,
impending.
Well, he hasn't been murdered, right? He's been manslaughtered.
Oh, that's that's a fine point. That's a fine point.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
so what basically we have him. This is a nice little kind of a twist, I guess. It was pretty obvious that he was Lex Luthor. When he was, walking on the stage and everything, that wasn't quite Lex. At first, you think it's Lex talking, and I was like, Lex used to shave his head. Oh, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Stuff like that. And then you slowly through, you're like, wait a minute, this is not Lex Luthor. And then his assassination happens, quote unquote. And it turns out through the investigation, you find out that the poison that Chance ingested may or may not have been specifically for Lex. So I'm not entirely sure if this is him solving his own murder, or if that would kind of suck if he's just trying to figure out who tried to kill Lex Luthor and he accidentally drank it, right? It's a little less important than who's actually trying to kill Chance.
Oh yeah.
I think that'll be not a twist, but it seems as though he is going to end up discovering that he was the target.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Which I think. Yeah.
Oh.
But it's like we keep I just saw a meme in my head. we keep mentioning Darwin Cook, and that was the first thought I had too, but it was more like, oh, this is a live action adaptation of a Darwin Cook book.
Yeah, I can see that.
Nice.
These are all like actual like actors within a Darwin Cook hued universe.
And the faces are more detailed than a Darwin Cook thing would be.
Yeah.
Well, everything is more detailed, but the styles, the colors, all of it is very much within like that universe, which tickles the shit out of me. I hope that this book is on time.
Yes. This is a good Captain Atom too. I like those reflections on him.
Yeah.
I had messaged in our group chat like after reading this, because I blew through all the comics last night, that I would skip issues and just buy this in absolute. They should just come out with that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I agree.
This deserves to be in the biggest, best format that DC offers.
Mars Comics is in the comments saying, yeah, Supergirl has been great, and I really enjoyed this book as well.
Nice.
And Hal says, I liked Tom King's Mr. Miracle and his take on Mr. Terrific and Strange Adventures with.
What a cliffhanger.
Also,
yeah, no. What's the next sentence?
Now, guys, Lex Luthor brings up a point that I have often wondered when thinking about the Human Target. Is like, well, what if he shot you in the head? Like, what would you have done? And like, Christopher Chance's whole deal is that he takes the hit for you. Yeah. And they don't. The things that I've seen don't really go too into detail as to how he takes that hit for you and doesn't die. But I'm cool with it. He has his ways.
It's one of those things where it's just like.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, I would have known if he was going to do that. I would have ducked or something.
I always thought too, like the shtick of the Human Torch, where he embodies like the character that he's protecting and takes the hit for them, was so stupid. Like I always thought it was, because I don't know, like especially in the TV show, they at least kind of worked around it to where all of his personas were either unknown people or unseen, or like he
didn't go into full makeup.
He took a name. He didn't go.
You're definitely talking about the Human Target and not the Human.
Not the Human Torch.
Oh no, I think the Human Torch is stupid too.
Yeah, he never dresses up as anything.
Really,
else.
Fire. Really,
whatever. Dork.
Don't even get me started. But Yeah, I always thought the shtick was really stupid, and I don't think it would work in any other medium. Like, because even in like Mission Impossible movies, when they do the CGI mask ripoff, it's just like enough. But I love it here. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, one of my favorite books of the week. Absolutely, I'm very excited to keep reading this. Now, my question is, okay, so Brian and I were talking about it earlier, and we've got this splash page up on the live stream here where we see the Justice League International, which is like classic. I want to say late '80s.
Yeah, post-crisis.
Yeah,
'80s. Yeah.
And in my head, I was going, because this is all revolving around some radiation. There was some radiation on the poison that Chance drank. And the only way you could get that radiation is this mission that this team went on, this particular team. And I went, how long ago did they go on this mission? When do you think, Noel, that this time, that this story takes place? Is this during the reign of the Justice League International, or is this modern and we're going to take a look back at the JLI?
I think it's during the reign of. So I think he's gonna. It feels as though the book is firmly placed in a pre-cell phone era. So they'll likely just kind of in an undefined. I suspect that in an undefined way they'll keep it in that kind of time frame, not unlike how like the Batman animated series does.
Yeah, quasi 1940s.
Anywhere between 1940, like whatever technology they have is just for the story, not to be reflected in like even the car. It's like an older Bentley. Yeah, could you go to the last page? I think I just realized this. I was looking at the book myself too. The title sequence, the title page on the end is just bee's knees amazing.
And it's cool.
So good,
carved
right?
into his headboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
the first panel is the dials on the phone. The numbers on the phone say DC Comics, and then the human target is the wallpaper.
Yeah.
Or carpet, I think.
Oh, the carpet. Yes, it's the carpet. And then chapter 1, When We Are Born, is etched into the
Headboard.
Headboard.
I mean,
well, metaphorically,
he's dead in the bed. But that's
what I meant.
Darwin Cook, we're on a bunch of like collected edition Facebook groups, and every once in a blue moon, people will be like, "What is the #1 DC Absolute or whatever that you want?" The Spirit by Darwin Cook, and every single title page is a hidden in context kind of like Spirit is written in the city,
awesome.
in the skyline, or somebody's jumping and doing a thing, and it's like it is the fucking best. It's
That's cool.
100% comics, and it makes me happy every goddamn time. Also, too, I think Francis Manapul did it in his Flash run.
He did. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
The Spirit by Darwin Cook, written and drawn by, is literally the best like 13 issues of any modern comic. And I doubt we'll ever get a reprint because I think Dynamite owns the rights to the Spirit now, and that was published by DC.
Maybe we should do a book club about that.
Oh,
that would be pretty cool.
I would reread it.
Sweet. Oh, speaking of this title page, I really like the last two panels too, where the light is turned off, and it's like exactly the same, and then the to be continued is in the one where the light is turned off.
So that's what this is. This is a live action adaptation of a Darwin Cook novel directed by Steven Soderbergh.
Intriguing.
See, I was thinking One Night
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright.
Oh, maybe.
That works too. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So much like cutesy shit in frame. Yeah.
You can almost hear the needle drops.
Huh. Hey, this Martian Manhunter, also on the previous page, is like straight out of Martian Manhunter's earliest appearances. Like classic, like pulp comics kind of Martian Manhunter. And I didn't really appreciate it until we were looking at it here on the screen.
So yes, everyone should pick this up and read it. Go with it monthly because we will likely keep talking about this book.
Yeah, this is, and I man, if I didn't have to read Far Sector while I was reading this today, I was thinking, I'm gonna catch up on Strange Adventures and Supergirl and all my other Tom King books that I'm behind on, and then I gotta read Far Sector for tomorrow night's book club, And that's a dense trade paperback.
Yeah, that's especially the first few issues. That's a lot of reading.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. Cannot say enough nice things about this issue. I'm very excited. Let's move on though to a thing called Truth #1 from Image Comics by Yolanda Zanfardino and Alisa Rombolo. A workaholic scientist who wants to save the world and a woman who fears nothing but discovering her own destiny find the here we go. All right. This will make sense in a second. Find themselves mixed up in a chaotic on-the-road adventure through Europe. Will they manage to find a middle ground before their opposing ways of life? At least for long enough. Sorry. Will they manage to find a middle ground between their opposing ways of life, at least for long enough to complete their mission? And could this trip lead to an unexpected romance?
Oh, it could, I guess. Now that they mention it.
I was going to say, like, there were no hints for it, but now I'm expecting
it. It's definitely possible.
Definitely expecting this unexpected romance. So, all right, my main question after putting this book down, I did not read the God, what are these things called that we read?
The
solicitation. I did not read the solicitation for a thing called Truth. And I put the book down. I enjoyed it. And I put it down and I went, where the hell are they supposed to, where does this story take place? Because the entire issue, nothing is mentioned about Europe. Yeah. Nothing is mentioned about where they are. So because I'm American, I just assumed it took place in America. And the woman, things go badly for our main character, and she gets drunk and falls asleep in her car and wakes up, and another woman is driving her car, and they seem to be on the run for some reason. She's not quite sure. And she goes, where are we? And she's like, we're in Paris. And she's like, Paris? That's impossible. So I was thinking, did they?
Right.
It's impossible. How did they jump from America to Paris?
I thought the same thing too, which oddly made me even more intrigued. Like, how long were you out? Was there a whole ferry involved? What's going on? But then in the last page, they show like a map thing, and I'm like, oh, they just came from like Italy.
Oh, did they? I didn't notice the map thing.
Hmm.
Oh, I missed the
last
map.
page.
Also, the second thing I thought, actually, before I got to the end of the book and thought, where does this take place? I thought, I really wish there was different lettering.
Yeah.
The lettering of this issue is very distracting and a little hard to read. I'm going to bring it up here a little bit. The very first thing I thought was, oof, this lettering hurts. And I was thinking what Len would say. Len would have a conniption about this lettering.
There's also a lot of it.
It's just like a block of text, and it's kind of hard to parse out. But,
there's no
the art
fluidity.
is really interesting.
There's no fluidity to the no fluidity to the lettering. It's just kind of copy pasted word balloon. Like they don't work within the panel, or kind of like it's like first draft. It's first pass lettering.
There's also, if you go to the page,
word balloon placement.
Like there's a lot of blank space at the top of some of these word balloons.
Yes.
Which I think, supports what you were saying, though, that it's really just like, there it is in the balloon.
Yeah, it's almost like this almost feels like a production version of a lot of it. Just like,
look at that top word balloon. Look at all that space just hovering up there.
Yeah.
Well, it takes away from the art too. Like it's a visual medium. I thought this was cute. Didn't set the world on fire. It's all set up, which is fine. It felt like the setup of a very rote rom-com, but it's relatively charming, so it's not like it's offensive. Like, I find the characters pretty charming. Her whole drunk tirade is really funny. And whoever the hell this blonde is, I think is interesting. But I mean, if they were more stock characters, yes, there's that they went from Germany to Italy. If I wasn't charmed by them, then I probably wouldn't. It wouldn't be enough meat on the bone for this first issue. This is a perfect example of. Without Len here, I think we have to mention it at least once. This is a perfect example of a series that might read better in trade, because there was good stuff in this issue, but it sure as shit wasn't like enough to really like get you hype for the next issue. It's just like, oh, I'll pick that up eventually. That sounds okay. Okay.
There was not much that was like particular or unique about the story. Like you're saying, like they didn't give you.
It's all
here's
by numbers.
the thing about this story that is she working on something interesting or whatever.
She's literally out loud lamenting to a recorder about how I am going to change the world exactly like this, and these people will trust me exactly like this, and so like immediately you're just like, okay, so she's gonna get screwed out of this, and then like
no idea what she's working at, like not a hint of like the thing she is doing, which might be a big deal. I don't know.
This whole thing was just like setting up blocks to knock over, which all stories do, all comics do. It's just some are a little bit better at hiding the seams. This didn't really hide the seams at all. It was just very checking boxes. But it wasn't a slog to read. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was like a C+, B-.
Yeah, I thought
C+.
C+.
I'd probably tend a little more towards that. I thought that, especially in the beginning, like there is a lot of text, and not with something that I'm particularly interested in. You know what I mean? Because they don't give you anything about what she's working on. It's just, I'm a scientist on the verge of a breakthrough. Is the thing? Yeah,
a really good example of that problem too, like is the conversation she's having with her soon-to-be ex-husband.
Yes,
I got the whole argument in the first panel.
Yeah, and there's
but then it goes on for a page and a half.
Yeah,
like I get it. She's a workaholic. He got tired of it. He left. But then it's a whole thing where they just hammer the point home, and then the end of that sequence is her realizing like, oh, maybe I should go have a beer. Whatever. Like it's a lot of. It's not on the nose. It's literally it's the fucking nose.
It's very broad. It's the nose. It's an in-your-face nose, and like they said, like you mentioned, they set up the I don't usually drink, but I might. In the conversation with the husband, it could probably just be introduced in the bar. I
think you guys are misreading that. At the very end there, she gets off the phone with him. You know, he's talking about how you never even, as long as I've known you, you've never gone out to like have a beer or whatever. And then she gets off the phone with him and goes, "Ugh, grab a beer." Yeah, like that's important.
Right.
So even at the end of that conversation, she's not interested. It's not like, oh yeah, maybe I should grab a beer. She's going, no,
she hasn't
beer is
had
not the important thing.
She hasn't had the bad thing happen yet that causes her to want to.
I'm talking about like the economy of storytelling though, not just like the punchline of the scene.
I see.
The fact that the scene could have ended a page and a half earlier, and we still learned what we needed to learn.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I felt like that was kind of the case with it.
It was just all cliches. Like they were like, I know that's how people talk with each other at times, but everyone was an archetype and had their little roles to enter and exit her life.
The champagne toasting people who have stolen her idea that are.
I swear to God, I heard them go.
That was my problem. That was my problem. Was that issue? I'm like, really? You guys are just out eviling each other in this room? Be like, yes, we really.
Even the receptionist guy is just like, did I do well, sir? Like,
he's like working the phones, and he's like, what if we did this to her?
And if it's the intention of the story that we'll learn like a couple issues later that the whole tone of this book is against the wall, bouncing to the other side, great. But this was like the first instance of it, and after the previous scenes, it was just like, okay, it's either out of place or it happened too late because that feels weird.
Yeah, that was definitely egregious. That one scene specifically.
Yeah.
I don't.
Champagne. Why do they have it?
I don't care enough to read the second issue of this.
No,
I'm going to. I think I pulled it, and it's only 5 issues. So.
Good. Yeah. Well, check back with us or report back to us. New Burn #1 from Image Comics, written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Jacob Phillips. Easton Newburn is a private detective without loyalties, investigating conflicts between rival crime factions while connecting enemies along the way. In his debut issue, a man is murdered after stealing from his own mafia family, but they aren't the ones who ordered the hit. ...
Calm.
Yes. This was fine. I was looking forward to Chip Zdarsky. I really like him as a writer. I don't think everything he writes is, gold, but for the most part, I like him as a writer. And this one just didn't. It was fine. It didn't really speak to me a whole heck of a lot. And I mean, his whole deal, Newburn's whole thing, is interesting. The fact that he is a private detective who works for the mafia, something I haven't really seen before. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like the mafias.
I was going to say
all
like
of the different. Yeah,
he is
the mafia.
He is Switzerland.
Yeah,
he is their Switzerland. He's the private investigator with
the UN
no affiliation.
inspector. I think he meant.
Yeah,
He says, yeah.
I think that's really cool too. This was like a pilot of a great TV show. There's not enough. All there is premise here. But I enjoyed it. I think it's interesting enough. This will be a great trade.
I thought it was interesting to have read this and Human Target in the same week. There's certainly a number of similarities. They both handle a mystery, and I think both do it well. I mean, in different ways. We don't have the solution in the Human Target, but I thought that it was a cool like solve on Newburn's part.
I will exponentially love this book more if every single issue is a small case.
You got like a little thing going on. Yeah.
If this is actually like an anthology book with the same characters, not unlike a procedural television show, I am so fucking down. I think that's awesome. But if there is a larger super arc story that they're going to start telling, I would love that. Maybe like 7 or 8 issues in. Like,
my guess is
let's just play with these characters and like time jumps and a week later they know each other now. Like, I would just love something a little bit more out of the box than mafia stuff.
Yeah,
I guess I want Law and Order from the perspective of the mafia. That's kind of what I want this to be. But I don't know. We'll see.
I've never seen that show, so I don't know how much it lines up already. But I have an idea. My guess is that there will be, if nothing else, there will be this overarching story about him and his new partner or protege or whatever, who I think was introduced in a very cool way. I like the journals and how you find out who Emily is, but don't know it first and then find out. And it's an interesting setup for the beginning of a relationship. This is probably not a book that I personally am going to pick up and see how it is every week, but I'd be really interested to know, like, if you end up carrying it or reading it or whatever.
It makes you wonder who the protagonist is.
Newburn?
Well, I mean, actually,
no. Yeah,
I think
might not be.
Newburn just seems to be a bit of a plot device, and the antagonist might end up actually being Emily.
Like, it's definitely about Newburn, but maybe he's a force within her life. Yeah.
Just like The Great Gatsby, where it's actually the main character is actually the secondary character.
Is that right? I never read that one either.
Jesus Christ, man.
Well, it doesn't take place in the future or anything, so.
Not science fiction, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Gatsby is not the main character. He is the subject of the main character's story.
Oh, interesting. All right.
I think I would have liked this better if it was drawn by Greg Smallwood.
Or Sean Phillips, Jacob's brother. His lines aren't as tight. Oh, yeah, Jacob Phillips is the colorist of Ed and Sean's shit. And the only other thing that I know that he's drawn before was that book, Bad Texas Blood.
Oh.
Yeah, it does feel like my head wants to say bargain Sean Phillips, but it's not. It's looser kind of Sean Phillips. It's like the lines are just a little looser and the faces aren't as defined. It's not bad. It's very serviceable, but it feels even the color palette is kind of muted. It feels like a procedural. Like this is a no frills story. I'm telling you, here it is presented in no frills.
And they do a good job of setting him up too, Newburn. Yeah. Like he is placed within his reality very capably so that you get the sense of who he is and that he ought to be there. He fits there. Now, there's a second part to this too. Oh, sorry, no.
Oh, it's like a.
Yeah,
I already kind of forgot it.
I thought it was a preview for another comic until JD pointed out that it wasn't, and I don't really know what was going on in it. The art's pretty cool, but there wasn't a lot to go on. I guess it takes place in the world of Newburn, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll come into the Newburn story. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, report back and let me know how this is. I'm not going to bother.
I'm. It's going to be word of mouth for me. Yeah.
Happy to hear it.
Hey. In addition to liking and subscribing on YouTube, you can go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo. You can help us out, much like Tyler did. Tyler, for just joining.
Thank you,
really
Tyler.
Appreciate it. And you can follow us and like on Facebook. We stream there as well. If you look up CultPop Podcast, and you can come down to my comic shop, Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA. That's it. End promo block. I nailed it.
Nice.
Oh, it looks like we're bringing back a beloved segment called Thunder Rounds.
Thunder Rounds.
Thank you.
You got it.
This one is for Noel's vacation reading. Noel.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. So
60 seconds.
I read a good chunk of things. This isn't actually all of it. Some of it was digital, but I'll tell you what these are, and then you guys can pick which one I do a 60-second review on.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh, cool. All right. So we've got The Incredible Hulk by Jason Aaron and Mark Sylvester.
Okay.
Oh, I'm curious. Go on.
Do we each get a pick, or do we have to decide on one?
Yeah,
okay,
cool.
Good. Oh, good.
Nice.
Yes, we get two.
Star Wars Darth Vader Volume 1 by Greg Pak.
Cool.
Redneck up to Volume 4.
Donna Gates.
Star Wars Bounty Hunters Volume 1. Chariot, which we read the first issue of.
Oh,
together.
the guy with the car. Yes.
Black Cat Volume 1 by Jed McKay.
Oh, interesting.
The Magic Order by Mark Miller and Olivier Coulpiet.
Is that just issue 1 of that? Are these all?
It's the trades. These are all trades.
Oh, I thought Magic Order. I just saw it on the new releases today. So
That's Magic Order 2, brah.
Cool. Gotcha. All right.
Old Man Hawkeye.
Oh,
Very good. That's the whole series. 60-ish.
Cool.
And Reckless Book 3, Destroy All Monsters.
Let me ask you this.
In addition to these, I actually...
Did you spend any time with your wife on your honeymoon?
Yeah, dude. She was laying on the beach, and next to her, I was laying down reading books.
Cool. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
In no instance did I disappear and go read. It was literally just with her the whole time because she's a quiet beach layer kind of person.
That's cool.
Mars wants to know, what about us? Do we get a pick?
Sure. But also,
Mars, you get a pick because you asked. You get the pick.
In addition to these, I also read War of the Bounty Hunters, the Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters.
Oh wow, the whole thing.
Just the main series, just the stuff that we weren't reading for the show, but we wanted to. So I had the digital copies ready to go. And then I put a good dent into Fables.
Okay.
So
like maybe the first 2 volumes of Fables.
Oh.
But yeah, that's it. Okay, right. So who wants to hear about whatever of these?
Let's see.
I forgot.
Now, JD, I think we should.
My pick is the Jason Aaron Incredible Hulk.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
That makes it a little easier for me because I had like 4 possible choices. You know what, Noel? I'm interested to see to hear what you think about Fables. I've never read it, and
oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay, so Fables. Does
Mars would like
Old
Man Hawkeye?
Oh, very good.
Thank you, Mars.
Nice.
Because I loved it.
Nice.
Okay, so 60 seconds on the clock. Which ones go? You know what? I'll do Fables first. It won't even be 60 seconds.
I'm going to put 60 seconds on your clock.
Let me wet my whistle.
Oh. And
okay.
Start round.
So, Fables Compendium Volume 1, I've got about 10, 15 chapters out of 45. The series is well over 150 issues. I'm on the third arc. Written by
Bill Willingham.
Bill Willingham with art by Mark Buckingham.
Yes.
Willingham and Buckingham. It's fascinating. It's very dated in how it's written. It's not written like modern comics. It's actually written a little bit more like late 80s, early 90s. It's almost overly written. It's very Vertigo in like a good way. You specifically, Brian, reading it felt like reading Lucifer. It doesn't talk down to you at all. It expects you to kind of like rise to its level. It's pretty fascinating. It's not a quick read. It's a rewarding read. So I wasn't able to like
End of
plow
round.
through it. I didn't want to plow through it.
For sure. I should check that out.
I think you would really like it. And I think that compendium's out of print. JD, you should check on that. Like it's a good book. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got one of them in the shop, and I saw. I was like, oh, nuts! It's Compendium 3.
Yeah, I think it's like Volume 3.
Yeah.
All right, so
what next?
Incredible Hulk by Jason Aaron and Mark Sylvester.
Awesome. All right, go.
This is fucking weird.
Yeah, it is.
This book is fucking weird. I read it in one sitting. It's not good. It's not bad.
But emphasis on it's not good.
Well, you know what? It reads very much like Jason Aaron's Ghost Rider run. Yeah. That was good. This is a B movie with like a big budget and starring all 90s action heroes. It is stupid. It's wildly stupid. I hate the art. Like it's really bad Mark Silvestri. Like everyone is like real fucking edgy. And it was really bad, but I feel like the writing knows what it's doing and it swerves into the dumb. So I was almost hate reading it by the end and enjoyed hate reading it. So it's very mixed emotions. I have the rest of the run that I will finish. I think it's another trade. But it's a hard rec. This is like only for fanboys. It's a really hard recommendation.
I'm curious to revisit it because I believe I read it when it was before I realized who Jason Aaron really was. And I was like, what is this? This is weird as hell. I don't know if I like this. But then after reading Ghost Rider and loving it, I went, maybe I should go back and revisit that Jason Aaron Hulk. So
yeah. I mean, I guess I could spoil it, but like they separate themselves as actual bodies.
Very cool. That's always a fun thing when I thought you were referring to it as a hard rec, WRECK.
No,
I was like, what
hard
recommendation?
Oh, man. Like it's hard to wreck.
Yeah.
All right, so Old Man Hawkeye, complete collection,
and go.
issues 1 through 12. This is fucking phenomenal. Written by Ethan Sachs with art by Marco Cicchetto for 10 of the 12 issues. It is so incredibly good. This takes place before Old Man Logan, so it is the universe 45 years later after all of the villains actually finally coordinate a plan and take everyone out. This is what happened to Hawkeye, and he is suffering from glaucoma and only has like maybe a week or two before he goes completely blind. He's at like 45% now, so he starts missing targets. So his doctor essentially tells him like, hey, if you ever wanted to see something again or get something done, you should do it now. So he goes on a revenge road trip. And it's essentially issue by issue, he is taking out former members of the Thunderbolts that wronged him. And on his tail the whole time is Marshall Bullseye with a cybernetic eye who works for the Red Skull. It is so fucking good. Like I blew through these 12 issues like they were popcorn. This was my second favorite read of the entire trip was this book. It's so good.
That is surprising. So I had no interest in that book whatsoever.
It's
damn it, no.
Marco Cicchetto.
I mean he's great. Cicchetto is great.
It was so good.
Mars,
it made me want to go back.
Hope you like that.
It was so good. It made me want to go back and reread Old Man Logan.
Oh, nice. I do remember liking that quite a bit. Mars says, thanks. Sounds awesome.
Excellent.
All right, let's move on to Dark Knights of Steel #1, DC Comics.
What?
Written by Tom Taylor with art by Yasmin Putri. An entire medieval world will be forever changed when a ship crash lands from a doomed planet. Monarchs will die, kingdoms will rise, and what seemed the end of the world for many, well, it was only the beginning. An epic high fantasy story set in a DC universe where nothing is what it seems. Now, what it seemed to me is like a DC version of medieval. It's just like a medieval DC. That's what it seems like to me. Is it not that?
It must not be. Apparently not.
Yeah, that's what it says.
I think there's a name for that, like other worlds.
Some
Is
things
world,
shan't or wouldn't exist.
Else lands. What was that?
Yeah,
was it. Else lands.
This was dope as hell. Tom Taylor is another one of my writers that I really, really like, and I look forward to anything they're writing. I wish I liked Dark Ages a little bit more from Marvel Comics, which is another book that he's currently working on.
Oh yeah.
But this, and again, medieval DC, I was like, I don't care about this. I don't know. Maybe this will be another Dark Ages where I'm just kind of like reading it because it's Tom Taylor. But I was wrong. This was great. The art is wonderful. The dialogue is fun. The comedy lands, I think. And there's quite a couple twists in here that I wasn't expecting. I thought it was awesome. It was the first thing I read this morning. First thing I read for this week, and I was not disappointed. What did you think, Brian?
I similarly loved it. Now, I was excited. I was like, ooh, DC, Middle Ages? It sounds good. And it's an interesting twist that Jor-El and Lara make it to Earth, and Kal-El is born here. So Jor-El and Lara are like part of the setup for the story, which is not something that is commonly done. Normally when they do these Elseworlds, they kind of are echoes of what happens in the main continuity, as opposed to something a little like playing around with what could have happened kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. They talked for a while about the Green Man, right? And I'm like, that's either Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter. I'll tell you what, it was one of those two.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Although we don't know which one of those.
I think we have a really good idea as to which one it was.
No, sorry. All right, we spoil. It was Green Lantern, but which Green Lantern? Good guy or not?
Yeah.
Who knows? I like the costume designs also. The Batman as a knight, but also Superman as like a lord kind of thing. And their relationship is most interesting. Yes.
The reveals at the end of this issue. This is 12 issues. This is a big magnum opus.
Cool.
The reveals at the end of this issue make me suspect or hope that it's going to be as expansive as Game of Thrones, and friends / brothers maybe won't feel that way or will fight over. I'm like,
so we're gonna spoil it, right? So the reveal at the end, for anyone, sorry guys, we're spoiling it. The real reveal at the end is that Batman is actually Jor-El's other son,
his bastard, not unlike Jon Snow.
Jon Snow, yeah. But unlike Jon Snow, this guy knows stuff. Jon Snow knew nothing. He knows nothing.
Yeah. Well, he knew how to service a woman. What?
Yeah. Ooh,
he eventually did.
Down in that cave. Boy, did he.
Yes.
Anyway,
here's
the thing.
That thing you do with your mouth.
Here's the thing. We find out that Bruce is Jor-El's son and that Jor-El had slept with Martha Wayne. What I thought was going to happen was before we got hints that Bruce had powers, I thought the reveal was going to be that, so when Laura and Jor-El land, they are greeted by folks from the nearby fiefdom. And I thought the reveal was going to be that when he murdered all of them with his heat vision in one fell swoop, that was the house of Wayne.
And
that he had murdered all of the Waynes in that one blast, and then they took over and made it the House of Kent or House of L. So I think that also would have been pretty cool. But I'm also happy with like, oh shit, you slept with Martha? Damn.
Yeah, most unexpected.
I hope and suspect that this is going to be like a lot of I'm an older reader, so I remember the Elseworld stories, how they would twist things around, but then they would always do a twist on the common trope or paradigm. So you've got these friends who are clashing against each other for some reason or other, but then kind of either work through it or so like, I mean, what's a better conflict than the rights to this throne after the monarch is destroyed?
Yeah.
Right. And and the where they both come from, one being a little bit more altruistic and I could do it, and the other one being like, Batman.
Yeah.
I thought this was wonderful. And who the hell is Yasmin Putri? Because she's amazing. This art is
good.
so incredibly
really
good.
fits the story era that it's in. I didn't notice before the stained glass that is present in the Wayne's throne room. There's like Krypton, I guess, them coming to Earth and some other thing. The sun.
Really? Oh.
I guess so. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, also, when we get Jefferson Pierce and Constantine, unexpected sort of additions here. Yeah.
Oh well, like the other house, their enemies are the Jefferson house or the Castle Jefferson or whatever, like the Jefferson Kingdom, and Constantine is their mage. It's just such crazy weird stuff, and I can't wait for later issues where they just kind of keep revealing like medieval versions of legacy DC characters. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, Yasmin has been doing a lot of cover work, like some Far Sector, Punchline, Future State Gotham, Nightwing.
Any interiors that I had read and not
That's
remembered?
what I'm looking for. I'm seeing a lot of covers, but I'm not sure how many interiors she's done. But man, I hope she does a lot more.
Apparently this has been in the works for a while. Like I think Tom Taylor had made note that he's been trying to get this off the ground, and they've been pre-working on it for the last year or two.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully a chunk is in the can and it's just going to start coming out like clockwork, because this is too fun. This is too good.
Yeah.
Guys, I didn't notice that Bruce Wayne's eyes are glowing red in the final panel. That's pretty cool.
That bodes well.
He's a little Kryptonian boy.
Yeah, he is.
The scene where Jor gets it in the eye. Blah.
Yeah.
Sklurt.
Also,
the one question I had for Brian, we were talking about it earlier, and I was like, why does Green Lantern need Green Arrow? So Green Lantern makes a construct of the arrow, and then Green Arrow shoots the arrow. Green Lantern could just shoot the arrow with his ring.
Is the arrow a construct, or is it just imbued with something that the Green Man did to it?
Oh, that's a good question. I hadn't thought of that. My answer was, even if the arrow is a construct, like it's one thing to maintain this construct, but he, from that distance, which I guess has to be a pretty great distance because Jor-El could be aware. He can like focus on maintaining the arrow, but couldn't.
And then he could just focus it in that direction.
Guys.
Yeah.
He flies.
He does.
Why does it need to be shot from that distance? He could go above them and then just bloop him right in the face.
I think we're just straight up assuming that it is Green Lantern.
And he does have a different kind of ring too. Like who knows what the
it is just a ring that is imbuing like it could be some version of Firestorm who's creating kryptonite in an arrow.
It's possible.
Like we don't know.
I was thinking it was just the arrowhead that he made.
I don't think he made it at all. It just seems like he did something to it that makes it penetrate.
Yeah, something kryptonite-ish, presumably.
Yeah, because in the panel before that, Noel's right. In the panel before that, you can see Oliver with his arrow. So the arrow is there. No. It's got an arrowhead.
It's true.
So yeah, he's doing something to it. kryptoniting it. So you might be right. No, maybe it's not Green Lantern. Tom Taylor is smarter than me, so I'm assuming he's got this.
He may not be smarter than you, but it's his story.
Right, he already thought about it for a little bit.
He's getting you. He's taking you off the plot.
He's got a cool. The Green Arrow has a cool like sight on his bow, which is like a period appropriate telescope. That is pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
there it is. Yeah.
Very cool. But yeah, this awesome. This was so good. This is another one that I can't wait for another issue to come out. It's very good. All right, moving right along. I have not read this issue. I forgot that we were supposed to, even though I'm the one who selected it. Hellboy, The Bones of Giants, #1, Dark Horse Comics. Mike Mignola with art by Christopher Golden. When a startling discovery is made in Sweden, the BPRD sends Hellboy and Abe Sapien to investigate. What ensues is a wild adventure full of Norse legends, mythical creatures, and a threat that could bring not just Earth, but the 9 realms of Norse mythology to their knees. I picked this because I was like, man, one of these days, Jadles, one of these days you're gonna read a Hellboy comic and you're gonna give a shit. You just keep on trying, my dude. One of these days you'll get there. And I haven't done it. And then I actually literally forgot that we were going to be talking about it. Otherwise, I was like, definitely going to
Maybe you're just like allergic to it. You're just alert, like it's not good or bad. It's just, it's like face blindness, but it's just for the Hellboy universe.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I know it's there, but it's always over here and I can't focus on it. Like it's over here.
It just, listen,
and then it moves and you're
like,
what's going
elements
on?
Of things that I like. It's like it's got a spooky vibe. It's got Mike Mignola art, or at least Mike Mignola adjacent art. It's got a demon he's got a right hand of doom. There's monsters to punch, all sorts of stuff to love about Hellboy. But for some reason, I've never read a story and been like, yes, I very much need the next issue of this.
Did you like the movies?
Guys think of it? I liked the movies fine enough.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, I love the movies.
Yeah, me too. Especially the second one.
Yeah,
the first one. The first Hellboy movie, even though it's Guillermo del Toro, everything about that movie feels stilted and staged, and no one feels comfortable in their roles yet. I think that all falls to the wayside with Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Everyone feels like they kind of have a grasp on their characters, and they're not just like hanging out under a bunch of latex uncomfortably. And they have a lot more fun with it. But that, and again, it was fine. And I've actually quite enjoyed the one that has the most the flack. Everyone hates the most recent Hellboy. I actually thought that was a bucket of fun.
Oh, cool. I didn't see that one.
That was a big budget TV movie. It was bad, but it was like really good bad.
I think it knew it was kind of bad.
It was like really good at being bad. Yeah. And it was just straight gory and goopy. I'm gonna watch that again.
Yeah, it was fun.
I enjoy Hellboy. I have not read all of it. I will go back one day and just kind of give it a go. But over the years I've read a really good chunk of Hellboy. I used to be obsessed with it. The first like 3 or 4 volumes I was absolutely obsessed with and just kind of kept reading. I owned the first 2 library editions for so long back when I couldn't afford comics as just like a college student. I wasted all of my pennies on those $50-$60 library editions, which I've since sold. But I've always appreciated Hellboy as a character, not just because of like the logistics of the character, but the way that he is always depicted is not unlike a plumber or a construction worker.
Yeah.
I love the tone of these books is just so fun, where it's life and death, apocalypse. Yeah, I'm a demon, whatever. Fuck yeah, great, cool. He's just essentially just unclogging toilets. Like that's the approach that's how he approaches every problem. It's just like, what do I punch? Where do I punch it? Ah, crap. Whatever. Great. Like his nonplussed attitude for some reason really, really works for me because it's a juxtaposition against this really weird shit that's happening everywhere. His partner's half fish his best friend is a gas bubble. Like it's just it's weird, but they don't comment on it being weird, which seems very rote now, but 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, when this first started, it was not. So with all that said, this was a Hellboy story. This was just a, I'm going to take something from either Norse or Arthurian mythology or even Lovecraft mythology, plop it in the Hellboy universe, and these workmen, paranormal investigators are just going to deal. Like it was comfortable.
My way of describing Hellboy was always, well, all right, I guess he eats some pancakes, he says damn, and he gets punched through a stone wall by a tentacle.
That's the first movie.
That's Hellboy.
Yeah.
That's all of Hellboy for me. Like all of the stories I've ever read.
I mean, that is the first movie, to be completely fair. Pancakes.
No, I mean the comic books. Yeah.
No, I know. But I'm saying, like, those are the things that
movie.
also Guillermo pulled out for just the movie.
Yeah.
But, like, the book gets crazy with he's the heir of Arthur, the Lady in the Lake. Like, they play with tons of shit. There's a whole cycle where he actually is in hell post-apocalypse. Like, it's fun. It's really, really fun. Yeah. But
I think
it's
the
a
other
specific
thing that
flavor.
The other thing that distances me is their infuriating the way that they publish the series. Yeah. Everything is a 4-issue mini series that I have no idea. None of the trade paperbacks are labeled with numbers so that I know this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. It's just Hellboy BPRD 1953.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's infuriating. If it wasn't like when this all first started, the internet wasn't as massive as it is now. So like, I remember asking comic shops, like, so do I need to read the first BPRD to enjoy the second Hellboy series? Which one's the second one? But the second one that came out is Strange Tales, but that takes place before the first one. So it's not the real second one. And
even to this day, this is called Hellboy, The Bones of Giants, Part 1 of 4. No idea where this takes place.
In current continuity, Hellboy's gone. So all of these new stories, I think so. I'm almost positive.
Now I feel bad for ragging on him. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
All of these stories all of these new Hellboy stories are either of a young Hellboy or in the past.
Gotcha.
So like now it's not that big of a problem. However, yeah, when they were coming out, and they were coming out so sporadically that you didn't know where and how they would even be on shelves. Only now are they easy to read because I think they have them just in like large trade paperback collections that's just 1 through 4.
And you can get a reading order. Like go online and look for a reading order.
Well, like now the reprints are all mapped in order.
Oh, okay.
So you could just start with like I think they call them omnibuses, but they're really only just like thick trades.
Thick boys.
Yeah. You could just 1 through 4 and read the whole Hellboy experience. And only the main stories. They don't include the little side adventures or the one shot about pancakes or any of that shit. It's just the main stories.
Yeah, there were actually 2 #1 issues that came out this week, I believe.
Of Hellboy.
Yes. 2 different ones.
Yeah,
it's not great to find them there.
That's a that's like a specific Dark Horse problem too. I know like the big deal with Bendis now is that he's moving his stuff over to Dark Horse, and he made a
really
Jinx World is now all Dark Horse.
Jesus Christ.
But he made a kind of jokes or assertions about like the people at Dark Horse that kind of just build their own little worlds or corners. So you've got like Jeff Lemire, all the crazy Black Hammer shit. And then
doing the same thing Hellboy does.
Exactly. The magnitude of miniseries that are connected but not really connected, and same with Hellboy. And he mentioned that, and I'm just like, man, motherfucker, just number your shit, please.
Just number your shit, please.
At some triangle numberings.
At the very least, triangle numbering, or if like newer readers who don't know what we're talking about, like if a story arc moved across different titles, underneath the number there'd be a little triangle or a little diamond that actually had the part 4 of like 10.
Or legacy numbering is fine.
Yeah,
right. Like Marvel does.
I mean, I would be super happy with just the trade paperbacks having volume numbers.
Yes,
you can have multiple 5-issue minis and do 1 through 5 till the cows come home. But when it's on the shelf, I would like it to be volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and volume 4. Yeah,
agreed.
Speaking of Hellboy, I thought this issue was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was all the stuff I liked about Hellboy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this art, man.
Yeah, really cool art. It's not like
Golden.
It's funny how Hellboy is drawn very much how I expect him in a Mike Mignola thing. The other characters are a little bit less. Mignola?
I wanna it's
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith, not Christopher Golden.
Oh. But I didn't even realize that, until you pointed it out, because I didn't look at that page. It's very, very. Is it Mignola or Mignola? Mignola. Okay. The North stuff is cool. You guys know the North stuff is right on my alley. Any kind of mythological stuff is right on my alley.
It's jam.
That's my jam. It's one of my jams. And I thought the way that they illustrated Mjolnir here was pretty cool. Giving it an extra L than Marvel Comics does in the name of it, but also giving it this short, stubby handle, which is part of the mythology of Mjolnir. And interesting twist. I'm reading it and I'm like, seems pretty Donald Blake-like right here. But it wasn't, as it turns out, and in a cool way. And I like the way that the issue ended, too. They consult this expert. He's like, well, I'm very old. I have to retire for the evening. And then he's running away down the street, as the final pages. Very interested. I'd really be interested to see what happens.
So they... fancy hammer that keeps getting struck by lightning. Hellboy, like the bull in a china shop he is, he's just like, well, did anybody actually try and fucking pick it up?
Yeah.
Goes to pick it up, gets struck by lightning when he's picking it up, and has this crazy vision. Essentially is kind of not imbued with, but just has memories and someone talks through him, but he can't put it down. His
funny.
Hand of Doom doesn't allow him to put it down, so this fucking hammer is essentially fused into his fist, and
you think it's something about him that doesn't allow him to put it down, not whatever's going on with the hammer?
I don't know.
Or it could be whatever.
Either one would be incredibly interesting. Whether it's his Hand of Doom doesn't allow him to let go of a weapon this powerful, and/or the weapon fuses itself to his hand. Either one.
Is that a deal? Like, does his hand kind of have its own intentions?
Yeah, he was born to bring about the apocalypse. I forget what it's called, but his hand. His crazy big Hand of Doom, it literally is. It's a fucking key that opens the gates of hell.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But his when he's born, the hand is that size, so it's like a little baby Hellboy with a giant
hand. Yeah. Ah, right on.
Yeah, it's the right Hand of Doom.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
It really moved along.
The white Hand of Doom.
The right Hand of Doom, right.
Looking at this issue, man, I want to read it. This
cool.
looks really good.
Yeah, you should read it.
Maybe this will be the one.
Yeah. I feel like the best way to approach Hellboy stories are piecemeal. Like we are readers that are very used to kind of linearly traveling through stories, but this publication schedule does not support that for the most part. So they're all relatively accessible, and they're all relatively one-shots that just sometimes have connective tissue.
Yeah, I didn't get any sense at all, I need to know what's been going on with Hellboy, or even who this other guy was. For all I know, maybe the expert that they talked to, they saw in previous issues, but it doesn't matter. It works just as well without.
Mignola also utilizes a lot of like noir tropes where he'll introduce you to characters within the story without introducing you to characters. So like, everyone in these stories has been around for forever and or has relationships, but they don't tell you what they are. So like you do feel like you're missing something. However, it's never been written. So like they make a joke here about how like, I thought you'd want me dead because of that thing that you did in Europe.
Yeah.
You don't know what that is. But it's like it's a noir trope of like everyone's got a story and everyone's got a past. It's just
it's a world building kind of thing. Yeah, very well done.
But by other writers, if it was done slightly less successfully, then it would feel like, what the fuck did I miss an issue? Did I like what's going on?
Especially something as long running as Hellboy. But I get that sense with, just because this is a 1 of 4, there's another one that was a 1 of 4 that came out. I get that sense with Hellboy that these are kind of characters that you can approach. Like, there is a period of time in their stories where they're just like regular Hellboy, regular Abe Sapien, like Superman or The Flash or whatever. Like, you could do a 4-issue miniseries without having to know what else has been going on with them.
Yeah, I haven't read them all, but I'm almost positive in regards to Hellboy and the BPRD series. They've kind of, the main plot has kind of been told. Like, the big stories have been told and they're over. Now all the Hellboy and BPRD stuff that's coming out is set in the past or ancillary.
Like Hellboy's adventure with Mjolnir kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So like the big Hellboy story is over. The big BPRD story is over. Now it's stuff like Hellboy and the BPRD 1952. Like, that is just a story that takes place in 1952 that is, outside of the mega arc that's already done. So like all the stuff that's been coming out has not, it's like not main continuity. It's all just.
And we read one for the show a little while ago that I liked. I think the general consensus was good. The Frankenstein one.
Yeah, I loved that one. I loved the Frankenstein one. That was really, really good. The one with the lady that is a
the detective
lady, that was like fine.
It was okay. Yeah. That I felt was more in the universe of this, which like more of a tie-in than this thing, or even the Frankenstein thing. Felt more like of the cloth of Hellboy from what little I know about it. Even art-wise. Like, that one didn't have any kind of Mignola feel to it at all.
Agree.
Yeah.
So, JD, which Hellboy story do you want to read next week?
Hellboy in Hell.
You want to just skip to Hellboy in Hell? All right.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Cool.
Yeah. The last issue.
Yeah. Why not just the last half of the last issue?
Yeah.
Why
the last panel.
Bog yourself down.
Credits page.
Yeah.
You know what?
I bet it says the end.
I am only going to read the ads in the last issue of Hellboy.
You get a sense of the world as it was when it was coming out.
Yeah. So what are you trying to sell me? Book from 10 years ago.
Stratego, I'm interested. Hostess pies.
These kids look like they're having fun.
You know what I'm excited about for next week, though?
What is it?
Robin and Batman.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
By Jeff Lemire.
Interesting.
And Dustin Nguyen.
We should read it.
We will.
Good.
All right. So, Brian.
Yeah.
It has been wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Talking to you.
Thank you.
You're dead to me. Leave.
All right.
Kindly go fuck off.
Now
we're going to talk about the Eternals.
Since I haven't gotten to see that yet, but I did see a movie we talked about. So just 1 second. Dune. I really liked it. Excellent. Classic sci-fi. Really felt like a 70s sci-fi kind of aesthetic in some ways. The grandness of it. Kind of austere vastness. And the story was great. It didn't move along quickly or full of a lot of action, but I wanted more, like, as it was going. Like, I noticed the length, but I was totally cool with it. Having been made aware that it would end very abruptly, being only the first half of the movie, I didn't think it was too abrupt. I thought it was a natural place for the story to end, given the constraints of it being split up into 2 parts. Everything looked really cool. The acting was great. The import of the story was conveyed very well. The gravity of it, and I'm really into it, and I'm really want to see more.
Nice.
Yes.
I liked it. I liked it.
We do a movie club and a book club every Tuesday night, actually, and movie club we're going to be doing Dune for movie club. So I'm very excited to watch it on HBO Max.
HBO Max. Yeah. Till November 21st.
Oh, I got a time budget. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. So
I was gonna say I think it's next week because I thought that, like, when you put the schedule up for the book and movie clubs, I was just like, is it still going to be on by then? But it'll be on.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And then also tomorrow night will be our Far Sector book club on Zoom.
Oh, very good.
So if anyone's interested in that, hit me up. I can get Zoom link. You can just hang out and talk with us all on screen. Brian, get the hell out.
All right,
Love you,
stepping off.
All right. Noel and I got a chance to see the Eternal new Marvel blockbuster film. It is directed by
Chloe Zhao.
Chloe Zhao. We know her from
Nomadland. Nomadland.
Yeah,
Academy Award winning Chloe Zhao.
Oh, no shit. I do not know her name. I have not seen Nomadland. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, great. And Liz, it's got a bunch of people in it. Bunch of actors.
It has. So superheroes. I mean, if we had notes, 1 second. It has people who play these characters by the names of Angelina Jolie, Kit Harington, Richard Madden, Gemma Chan, Salma Hayek, Don Lee, Kumail Nanjiani, Barry Keogh, Leah McHugh, Brian Tyree Henry.
Wow. Yeah.
There are 10 main characters in this movie. 10 main characters.
And I have very limited experience with the Eternals as a property in the whole. We for book club on the CultPop podcast have discussed the Neil Gaiman miniseries, and we found it lacking. I don't think we were particularly impressed. Didn't really care that much. Boring as shit.
It was really boring.
Then I read we did the first volume of Kieran Gillen's Eternals, which is currently on the shelves, and that is with art by
Isad Ribish.
Yeah, and much better. Much better.
Oh, I surprisingly enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would.
Same. All right. So my feelings on this movie. We're gonna keep this a little tight because I still have to do my orders for the night. But my feelings on the movie were, I don't think I'm gonna care about this movie. It looks interesting. It looks like it's different than everything we've seen thus far. I don't particularly care about these characters. I don't care as much about these actors. They're all fine actors. But really, there was no emotional excitement for me. I was not like, oh man, I can't wait for Eternals.
Like the fan style excitement. Like, oh, I've waited forever to see this character on film. Holy shit. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Okay.
I was like, oh, it's a bunch of people I don't know doing stuff. Cool, I guess. But I kind of likened it to Guardians of the Galaxy. When we first heard, not saw, but we first heard that Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be a major Marvel property, I went, oh my God, really? We're dipping into the Guardians now? Like, oh, we've gone that low? And I poo-pooed it, and I was like, no one's going to give a shit about the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. And then I saw it, and I ate my hat. And then I ate somebody else's hat because I was so wrong. And
you had me on this analogy. You had me on this analogy until then because I was the asshole that was reading Guardians of the Galaxy and just fucking did cartwheels. Like there's no fucking it was this big thing about how like they have the biggest balls in the world when it comes to intellectual property because they're gonna make a raccoon and a tree main characters.
Yeah,
like that just blew me away. But in regards to this, I had absolutely no care or affinity for the Eternals at all.
And as I was sitting through it, I was going, well, this is interesting. This is kind of cool. This is kind of interesting. It's fine. I respect the pacing of this. I really respect that it's different than all the other Marvel movies. I don't know if I care though. But the more I sat there, and I was there a while, it's a long film. The more I started to sort of get ingrained into what was happening. I started to appreciate the characters and what they were going through and their character arcs and their personalities and their experiences and stuff. And like the loss when certain characters don't make it, you could kind of sense, I could kind of feel it, and then by the end of it, I was like, I really like that. I did not pump my fists. I was not like, yes, oh man, I can't, oh boy, they knocked that out of the park. But I walked out with a very positive feeling of like, man, that was really good. I think I really enjoyed that. But there was not a lot of excitement to it. It was just a very even-keeled, sort of pleasant experience that I really respect. You know, it's kind of like, this is a weird thing to say, but there's certain jokes when I hear them, I go, yeah, that's funny, right? I don't laugh. I don't have an emotional, like, I don't have a physical reaction to it because it's so funny I'm laughing, but I do go, oh, that's a smart and funny joke. I like that joke. This was the Eternals for me. I was like, oh, that's a smart, well-made movie. Good job. I liked it. I don't know how many times I'm going to go back and revisit it. I'll definitely revisit it, but it's not one of the ones I'm just going to throw on willy-nilly. Like, let me put this on in the background. So yeah, how did you feel? How was your reaction?
Not a dissimilar one. So I had heard all of the moans and groans, the hyperbole about how it's not this or it's not that, or it fails at this and it fails at that. But I have being slightly familiar with Chloe Zhao, slightly familiar with the Eternals, slightly familiar with the bubbling hype, and I say that with air quotes because the hype itself was that they intentionally wanted this to be not like a normal Marvel movie, and this was supposed to feel like a more prestige Marvel movie. Like I was kind of primed for it being a different type of experience. Like there weren't, with these characters, there weren't even deep cut member berries that they could toss in. At least too many, right? Which as I got closer to seeing it, hearing all these people have oddly negative experiences or the things that they were complaining. Have you, here's an analogy. Have you ever looked up like a hotel or a restaurant and you're like, oh, let's see what the ratings are. You immediately go to the worst rating and read why they gave it a bad rating.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, it's like, this person was mean to me. So it's 1 star. However, best meal ever. So it's like it's, you learn more about how you'll enjoy the movie based off of what people are complaining about and if that matters to you or not. So I kind of went in with that kind of headspace of like, I'm okay if it's not like a normal Marvel movie. I'm okay with a longer running time as long as it feels like there's no wasted space. And I'm okay with not having fist bump moments as long as the story they're telling is engaging. So I went in with kind of that headspace, and I was so happy for more than half of this movie. Like, I was genuinely shocked.
For more than half. Was that the beginning half or the end half?
The second half. So like it was a slow burn up into sheer happiness because it was less than halfway through when I realized that I don't know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
I always know how movies are going to, these Marvel movies, I always know how they're going to end, and that's okay. There was a point in the movie where I turned over to my wife and was just like, I don't know how they're going to solve this problem.
Yeah.
I just don't know how they're going to solve this. And then, so there's a couple of genuinely shocking moments. At least to me, there were a couple of genuinely shocking twists. Some came very early, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why? I mean, that's what
we just got here, man.
I guess that character's gone.
Yeah.
There is a main character who pieces out for the final climax just cause.
Yeah.
And they stay pieced out. Like, I don't want to fight. And they're gone for the rest of the movie. Yeah. Any other film would, in like a moment of climax, have them show up and save the day.
At the very last minute, where everything looks... Yeah.
They are 10 individual, very specific people who have been around for thousands of years. And that perspective doesn't make everything super important. So it's like, I don't believe in what you're doing. I love you, but I'm going to go. And they go. They're like, it's weird choices like that other movies would be too afraid to make, that made me slowly in small ways love this movie more and more and more and more.
Right. So it really does, like, it swells.
By the time we get to the climax, I was just fucking in it, and I had no idea what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
No idea. And that was just a incredibly wonderful feeling. somebody that consumes so much media. It was wonderful not knowing how they're going to solve the problem and how it's going to come back at them. And the last time I felt like that was after The Last Jedi, not being able to map in my head how the third movie could eventually be. Because all the things that they should have saved for the third movie, they did and cut off. And like, oh, this could be a different kind of Star Wars movie that comes next. And I'm so excited for what that could be. I mean, how it ended up was very disappointing. But that feeling of somebody who loves this medium just as much as me is playing with it.
Yeah. I
felt that here. And I was just so happy. I will revisit this.
Yeah.
So happy. Like I genuinely do not understand what the negative reviews are about.
Well, you know, and I don't want to. Okay, I know many. I can give you probably at least 5 things that explains why people don't like it. It's long. There's not enough punching. There's too
Spider-Man
many.
2 was 2 hours and 25 minutes.
There's too many
10 minutes less.
People who aren't straight whites.
Fair. Fucking straight whites, man.
Yeah. It's you know, I'm seeing a lot of things about like, oh, it's very, you know, SJW Marvel movies. I'm like, what?
There's nothing woke about this movie. The agenda is not anything that's different than any superhero movie of humanity is better than that. That is literally the theme of this movie, which is the theme of every fucking superhero movie. Yeah. Humanity is better than that.
But just because
there's nothing woke about
cast people who weren't white, it's woke.
This movie was spectacular. I was so very happy with it. I talked to my brother yesterday. He's got a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. And he asked me, do you think they would like it? And I said, no. Maybe the 10-year-old would be fascinated and confused, but stare at it and want to know more. Like, you know, like we would when we saw a movie that was just a little above our head, but not so much where we didn't know. The 5-year-old will check the fuck out very early. Yeah. But yeah, don't waste movie tickets on it. This is a very specific movie.
It just, you know, it feels like it's not a Marvel movie.
I love that. But
yeah.
Wait, it very much is a Marvel movie because if you take all of the actual just plot, like the plot pieces, separated from it, it hits every Marvel movie beat, like to the letter. It's just presented in a completely different way. And I loved the storytelling device that they employed the whole time, where these characters have been on Earth for 7,000 years. Yeah. So the story is told linearly, but also isn't told linearly. Mm-hmm. So we get to see what's happening in real time and then flashbacks. But the way that they pace them out is just so well done. It's very organic. Yeah. This is a long movie, but it didn't feel like a long movie. It felt like a lived-in movie. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like, I knew that it was long and I felt like it was long, but I was never bored. I was never bored.
Yeah, I wasn't bored.
Like,
I got bored during Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
But not this, but not Eternals.
Halloween Kills was an hour and 50 minutes, and you could have easily cut 40 of those minutes and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
This, I don't know. I could do with 15 minutes more of this movie because I just love these characters so much. And some of the choices were just so crazy.
They have such a history. Like, there's still so much more story to tell that, I was engaged with every minute of the movie.
When you're alive that long, you take turns being an antagonist, a protagonist, and everything was so... I loved this. I loved this. And I think what weirds me out even more is it's not like just fans that are divisive about it. It's actually like legitimate critics are really separated on it. I think like the Rotten Tomato score is like 55 or 60. It's under fresh.
Wow. Why? Really?
I don't know why. Like, is it because this is not worse than Venom Let There Be Carnage. This is not worse than Iron Man 2. This is like, I don't get it at all.
I'm looking
like,
at
this is
First of all, fuck Rotten Tomatoes in the butt. But
it's an aggregate. It's not a real.
Yeah, 48%. But then 80% audience score. Wow.
Yeah, people are responding to it positively.
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
Critics are like, what's happening? Yeah. There's a major disconnect. It's interesting.
Wow. Oh, I love that. I love it. Because I honestly, as I was sitting there watching this movie, in the back of my head, I'm going, I can see why people are not going to like this. I can see that this is not going to be the big Marvel release that I think Marvel is hoping for and is used to. But man, that shocks me that it's got 80% audience score, 5,000 plus verified ratings. Holy shit, that's great.
It made bank this weekend, but
71 million so far.
Just in America, right?
It says gross USA. Yeah.
161.
Although I have heard there have been some issues with the same-sex relationship, and it's been banned in other countries.
Yeah, there's a handful of countries that won't get it.
Grow up.
The box office for this is going to be addended, or it's going to have an asterisk next to it, because not only is it still post-pandemic, not as many screens, but longer runtime too. But then also, there's a lot of countries that it's not opening up in.
Wow.
Well, so far over the weekend, $161 million worldwide.
Oh, 161. Wow.
I mean, let's before we go away. I mean, it's going to be a complete wash for them. This is a perfect segue into the end credit sequences, which I think we should spoil in full.
Okay, so from here on out, listen, you guys heard our opinions. We both really enjoyed the movie. Definitely go see it in the theater if you can, but we completely understand if you're uncomfortable, stream it later. But definitely check it out. It's actually quite good. And I also would like to say, I don't, anytime anyone online is defending this movie or just saying they enjoyed it, people come out of the woodwork to be like, Marvel fanboys, you guys don't even, whatever, as long as it's got Marvel on it, you'll love it, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the true of us.
No.
Yeah, I think we are, there's stuff we don't like.
We walk into the movies and we want to like them.
Yeah.
So so take that in both ways, that we're soft targets, but then also even if we are soft targets, if we're going to complain about something, it's probably from a place of love. We could talk for hours still about Justice League, and it's not because the movie was terrible. It's because we wanted it to be so much more.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from here on out, we should probably put in a little thing, if you can, spoiler alerts. Yeah. We're going to talk about the end of the movie. So was there something specific you wanted to address? Wait for him
let me put the banner.
Typing. Mars, did you see the movie? Who's out there? You guys are in. I see you. I got a number ticking on my screen. There's people hanging out with us. Did you guys see the Eternals? Comment below. Let us what you thought of it.
All right. So things I want to talk about. The first post-credit sequence. So there are two post-credit sequences. One that happens after the main credits, and then one that happens after the long credits. Both of them.
I forgot about this. Yeah.
Both of them tickled me for different reasons.
Ugh.
One of them was, oh, you're fucking going for it. And I respected that. And the other one was that what I thought it was? Both of them were exciting. So after Arishem takes the remaining Eternals away to be judged, those that left on the ship now need to know where their brothers and sisters are. And someone shows up on a rainbow teleportation to help.
Yeah.
And it was such a deep cut, stupid fucking character that I almost stood up and was just like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it.
See,
go for it.
My reaction was, they've gone too far. They've gone too far into, I don't care about Star Fox.
Oh, wait, hang on. I'm not even talking about Star Fox.
Pip.
I'm talking about
Pip. Pip looked terrible. Pip's CGI was comically bad. Who is that actor, by the way? Do we know?
It was just a motion capture, but that's Patton Oswalt's voice.
That's what I thought. Awful. All the money that they spent on that movie and hit CGI Pip looked terrible. I was excited that Pip showed up, but then he looked like a cartoon.
I mean, go back to the first time that you saw Thanos with the weird, like it's a weird mask that just kind of grins. They'll fix it if he actually shows up in a full movie.
Yeah, I guess.
But it was such a weird feeling because there's this 2.5 hour, relatively serious with some humor, prestige Marvel movie about the existentialism of life.
Yeah.
And then fucking Pip shows up drunk.
Patton Oswalt. Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's Eros, Star Fox. Like the craziest Lotharo of the universe. And he's just like, yeah, I'll help you get your friends. Oh, hey, Athena. I was like, this is such a weird swing, and I'm here for it.
Okay.
Super here for it.
I'm hoping I'll eat my hat again later.
It's a Guardians level move. He is an Eternal. He has connections to Thanos. He is a perfect plot device to connect them to the other stuff. I'm down. I'm super down.
So wait, hold on a second. Hold on. I'm getting mad now. Thanos is an Eternal, right?
He's like a failed. It's actually in the Kieran Gillen run. I forget the name of it. He's kind of like he's kind of a failed experiment of genetics via the same process that created Eternals.
And someone slept together and created Thanos.
Yeah, well, kind of like what's the eugenics?
Oh, okay. Seems weird, their whole thing about like we were told not to interfere, but then Thanos is the main bad guy. You guys couldn't be arsed to.
They didn't know. They like the whole thing is that they are not aware.
That's true.
Of the
I guess
other
they were
Eternals.
separated
Completely.
They were separated on their different parts of the planet, just living as humans.
Yeah. Well,
That's
not
true.
even that.
That's true.
And not even that. It's like if they had no order from Arishem about what's happening anywhere else, they don't. Yeah. They're not.
They don't get it. Yeah, they don't. That's true. No. That's true. They wouldn't have known until after the snap or until the snap.
Yeah, and then like measure it in years. 500 years ago, they were like, "Hey, go live a life," and then for 500 years they just lived lives alone. Everyone's like, so I think they talk about how Sprite lived with Kingo for a while, but then he bolted, and then Sprite lived with Circe for a while. But yeah, in general. But so that's the first one. The first one was very much Guardians style swing, and I appreciated it. The second one was made me very excited for a specific reason. So it's the Dane Whitman character,
the
who
Black Knight.
We know as readers, the Black Knight. They make a joke about the ebony blade earlier in the movie. Circe swinging around a sword, and Sprite's like, "Is that the ebony blade?" And she's like, "No, it's Excalibur." And then somebody makes a joke how Arthur always had a crush on Thena. So like a joke.
I missed that. I missed the ebony blade reference.
They make a quick joke about it, and it's just like, "Nah, I see what you did." But then they actually kind of show you the blade that he's got. He is in possession of the blade, is afraid to touch it because those that try to use it are imbued with their ancestors, and it is a curse. You have a long life, you have abilities and powers. However, it slowly eats away at your sanity. So this guy that loves Circe has the ability to not only help her, but also live as long as her or a very long time with her. And all he has to do is kind of trade over his sanity for it. Yeah. I think that's really fun. Yeah. But when he's about to touch it, a disembodied voice says, "Mr. Whitman, are you sure you want to do that?"
Right.
Do you know who that voice was?
No.
That was Mahershala Ali.
Blade.
Yeah.
The new Blade.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Which makes me think, hope, dream that the Blade movie will be in Britain. Which makes me feel like Captain Britain and the MI13. Captain Britain and MI13.
Yeah.
Which was Captain Britain, Black Knight, Blade, Songbird, like all of these British characters. Pete Wisdom.
Yeah, Pride and Wisdom. I was thinking of the Pride and Wisdom miniseries. I'm like, somebody in Wisdom. Yeah.
That was the best damn 15 issues that got canceled really quickly post Secret Invasion. It was Paul Cornell and Leonard Kirk.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. and the fact that they paired up Black Knight with Blade in Britain, I was like,
That's
are you
cool.
going to make a very deep cut series a movie?
That'd be cool.
Just like you did Guardians. They're essentially, you know what they're doing? I don't feel like the world revolves around me. However, they're they're taking my pull list from 15 years ago and they're making them into franchise films.
Yeah.
And it's freaking me out.
The Nolaverse.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
Speaking of that, a quick aside. The Morbius movie trailer dropped.
Yeah. Weird.
And that's got some weird shit in it. Like the fact that Venom is mentioned. Okay, that makes sense. Venom is mentioned, although it's a good gag.
Yeah.
But we see a poster of Spider-Man and we see Michael Keaton presumably playing Vulture again.
Yeah.
So I guess these all take place in the same universe. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, it's weird, right? So
yeah.
Did you see Let There Be Carnage?
Not yet. I want to.
Did somebody spoil any of it for you?
No.
All right, so let's have this conversation later.
Okay, cool. I'll see the movie and we'll spoil. I'll come back.
There's a lot of things in that trailer that shouldn't make sense if the end credit sequences of Let There Be Carnage are what they intended them to be.
Oh shit.
Because I don't think Venom exists in the same continuity as Sony Spider-Man. Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Right.
But Morbius seems to, because they make in the trailer, they make two references to the stuff in San Francisco and I Am Venom.
Yeah.
And that, but then they make reference to Vulture in Tom Holland Spider-Man universe. But then the poster of Spider-Man
is Toby.
It's fucking Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Weird.
And then they show the old Daily Bugle logo from the Toby in it. Yeah, so I have no idea where it exists, if it exists anywhere.
I'm so confused.
But I love the special effects of it all, though.
It looks pretty good, actually.
I like it's the worst. Morbius is one of my least favorite character designs, but they still kind of made it look cool.
Yeah, he's spooky. It could still be the multiverse, and it's just a multiverse wherein he exists with, because we've never seen the Vulture in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So it could just be the Vulture of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, still played by the same actor.
I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
It could be, honestly, I'm okay if it's related to literally nothing. I have very low expectations for the movie.
Yeah.
But it looks slick. It looks like a really fun B movie, which is what Venom 1 was. Like, it's a really stupid fun movie. So I liked the special effects he playing with his face and making him look like the comic character, but not. I was done with it. I was thinking, cool.
Yeah.
I saw that you shared the new poster? Spider-Man poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that means like a trailer should be imminent, right?
Right. I hope. Although I don't know if I need one, man. I don't need a Spider-Man. I never need a Spider-Man trailer because I'm gonna go see a Spider-Man movie. You don't need to get me excited.
At this point, I feel like they're just waiting to confirm one or two things. You remember how we knew, like, in because we pay attention to these things in Captain America: Civil War, we knew that they cast somebody to play Peter Parker. We were told, and there was press releases. It was a whole thing. So we just knew there was going to be something in the movie. And it wasn't until that last trailer where they actually showed him like catching the shield and flipping over. Even though we knew it was happening, it was still like, I want to see that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the rumors are that there's just going to be multiple Spider-Man.
Yeah.
If it happens, that's rad. Show me in a trailer. I'm still going to be excited. Don't show me in a trailer. I'm still going to see it.
Yep.
I don't think it'll spoil anything. I think it's just levels of hype.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm stoked. I'm tired of talking about it. I just want to see the friggin' movie. Let me see the new Spideyman. Anything else about Eternals before we jet?
I think it was wonderful. I can't wait to watch it again.
I really want to. I saw it by myself. I didn't take Sushan to see it, and I really would like to. I feel like she might enjoy this one more than most of the Marvel movies.
My wife enjoys the Marvel movies for what they are, like popcorn fun.
Mm-hmm.
She was engaged at a different level for this one, like less like fist pumpy excited, like ooh that's so cool, and more like how are they? What's gonna just more engaged, like a typical movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I just
just
have to
really
find
well
someone
done,
to watch our baby so I can take her to the movie. All right.
Give me a couple days.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you're back. I hope you had a great honeymoon. We saw pictures. It was amazing. Last week it was fun because it was just the two of us. We were just deciding we're not going to review any books. We're just going to hang out and chat.
What'd you guys talk about?
I don't remember. That was a week ago. I have a baby.
What's today?
Go listen to the previous episode. You do the work. All right. Mostly we were talking to people in the comments who were asking us questions, and we had an email to respond to and stuff like that. So it was mostly just like hanging out, and whatever came up in the comments we just discussed, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan H says, "Congrats, Noel." And Brian and I were discussing. I think we want to bring back book club.
Yeah.
So I think the first book club we're going to do, or the next book club we're going to do, is probably going to be Far Sector.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we reviewed like more than half of the series.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, like one person has listened to all of those.
That's fair.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. I guess that's it. I got to go do my orders. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us. And we will talk at you later.
Bye.
And broadcast.